Hello, welcome to our winter weather talk. My name is Heather Brown. I'm with Newport News Emergency Management, and I'm joined today by Jeff Orrock with National Weather Service Wakefield. Jeff, can you tell us about what you expect for winter weather this year for Newport News and kind of the surrounding area?
You know, winter here in Newport News and all our Hampton roads, it's kind of an interesting thing. You know, we always talk about how much snowfall do we normally see, and really there is no, I'd say, true normal snowfall for Hampton roads, and really for a lot of Eastern Virginia for that matter. You know, we either see years where we have a lot of snow, or we see years where we don't see a whole lot at all. On average, if you know what you might expect is about 3 to 4 inches of snow here on the peninsula every winter, if you were to kind of just average it all out. But we know there's winters where we see no snow, and there's winters where we see 12 inches. So we really end up with what's called an average of extremes. Now, when you look at the times of year where we see snowfall, when do we expect to see snow? Usually we start to get into that cold pattern really about mid-January through most of February. So if we're going to see those bigger snows, it usually is in the more the dead of winter as the atmosphere has gotten nice and cold. And so it is from, I'd say, mid-January through about late February. Every now and then we'll see a late season nor'easter sneak up on us, and we have seen some pretty big snows even in early March. But once we get past that second week of March, it's getting too warm, and at that point we're really not seeing much snow. You know, looking ahead to this season, the way it might play out, the outlook right now from NOAA for our region is for the temperatures in our area to be maybe slightly above normal, and the precipitation, be right around normal to maybe slightly below. So on average, it could be a slightly warmer than normal winter, and it could be slightly drier. And the reason for that is what's called La Nina. And without going too far into the science, it just means that the Pacific Ocean is going through an anomaly, and the waters are cold, and it causes the jet stream to react. And the way the jet stream reacts is it tracks most of the storms across the Great Lakes in the Midwest. So a lot of the big snowstorms may stay to our north this year, and we may be kind of on the fringe of them. And so that's really why we talk about La Nina. It does affect the winter pattern. Now, what's tricky about this for us is that even if the storm tracks farther to the north, let's say we're right on the edge of them, every now and then we could still see a big dip in the jet stream. It interacts with the coast, and all of a sudden we have a big nor'easter blow up. And so it only takes one storm to all of a sudden bring us that 6 to 12 inches of snow at just one time. And so when you think back like to 2018, if folks around here remember, that was a really big blizzard for this whole peninsula region. We got about 9 to 12 inches of snow, a lot of wind, and that was in 2018. That was actually a very similar winter to what we're looking at this year. So, and that was overall a warm winter, believe it or not. And precipitation-wise was right around normal. Things just lined up perfect for us to get a blizzard. So, because if you're a betting person, the odds are it'll be warmer than normal and probably less snow. It's almost like hurricane season. We can still get all of a sudden that one-off nor'easter that could come in and just dump a whole lot of snow. And, 1 5-inch snow event, and boom, there's your normal snow for the winter. So we'll see what happens this winter. Overall, it should be fairly warm and maybe even a little bit dry.
Sounds like we just need to be prepared in general. I do remember that storm, and it was quite fun to deal with. So just some general stuff that you guys can do to be prepared. Looking at your home, kind of look around and check your windows and doors, make sure that they're insulated properly, check the weather stripping around them to make sure that they're actually able to keep out cold air. Definitely need to make sure that you have a smoke alarm or a carbon monoxide detector. Both of those are pretty good options to keep in your home, especially because we're going to have most likely an increased number of heating elements in your home. So maybe you have an extra heater or, an extra heat source in your home. So having both of those are a good option to have. You should also have a fire extinguisher just in case something happens, if you're lighting candles or if you have a wood burning fireplace in your home. Fire extinguishers are a really good option to have. If you have any questions about that, you're perfectly able to contact the Community Risk Reduction Division of Newport News Fire Department. They have a lot of resources and some information regarding smoke detectors as well as fire extinguishers. So something else that you should do is making sure that your vehicle is prepared for the winter weather, should we have it. Something you should do before you step out onto the road is making sure that your vehicle is ready to go, checking your fluid levels, making sure those are where they need to be, checking your power systems, as well as your tires to make sure that they have a good tread on them, so that way you can make it through whatever weather conditions you may experience while you're out. Also, checking the road conditions before you leave. The state has a Virginia 511 app, or you can go online to check the road conditions. They also have bridge openings and traffic alerts as they know about them, and they're able to publish them for the general public. So that is a resource that you can use prior to leaving. So in addition to having an emergency kit in your vehicle, you should also have one in your home. There are a lot of resources online. One of those resources is ready.gov. They have a lot of different checklists that you can have for your home, such as for elderly people, for children, and for pets. There are a lot of lists, but something to keep in mind is that your list should be specific to you and the people in your household. So your kit might look different from your neighbors or other family members that live separate from you. So something else you should have is a communications plan. So have a written down, even if it's just in a notebook, have your phone numbers written down for maybe your pharmacy, your doctor's office, or your other family members in case you lose electricity and you're not able to charge your phone. So within the city, we have a resource called 311. That is a number that you can dial directly from your phone to get information within the city regarding trash pickup, street clearing. You can report traffic signals, and you can also ask other city-related questions. If they don't know the answer, they can put you in contact with somebody that does. Another service we have in the city is called NN Alert. This is an alert system that you as a resident can sign up for. You can put in your email address, cell phone number, or if you still have a house number, you can register yourself. So that way you can receive notifications from the National Weather Service regarding weather-related conditions. Or you may receive an alert from the city departments, such as the fire department or police, regarding any issues that they're having that you might need to be alerted for. You can find more information and you can register at www.nnva.gov. So, Jeff, I've heard about the Think 60 program that National Weather Service does. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so, we focus so much on the winter threats, the snow and the ice. And one of the things, that's a big threat around here, and sometimes we just don't think about it, is, really the water temperatures and going out on the water. And we do have a lot of folks, whether they're duck hunting or out fishing year round, we do have a lot of folks venturing out on the water. And one of the dangers we have around here that sometimes we don't think about is the cold water. And so what ends up happening is, folks going out on kayaks, maybe even small boats, go out there, get in trouble, and then have to enter the water for one reason or another. The danger around here is that once the water temperature gets below 60 degrees, and really that happens from fall all the way through winter. In fact, our water temperatures usually get down into the 40s around here, and we don't warm up above 60 degrees, usually until about late April and into May. So there's this long stint through the winter and early spring where we are still out on the water. Folks are still doing some water activities. But if all of a sudden somebody has to enter the water and the water's cold, below 60 degrees, what ends up happening is your body really starts to kind of shut down. That cold water really starts to cause the body, all the blood kind of goes into the interior parts. You lose your muscle dexterity. And so what ends up happening is a person's ability, really especially to tread water and to stay afloat in cold water, is really shortened. And of course, they can succumb to drowning. And that's why, always have a flotation device, your PFD on when you're out there in the water. If you are, there's a chance you may go in. You want to be wearing some heavier gear, especially if you're kayaking, making sure you're wearing some type of a wetsuit or even a dry suit if you know you're going to have to go in the water. It's just cold water is extremely dangerous, and it's one of the things the Coast Guard gets very concerned about around here because we do have a lot of great year-round activities, and folks do like to still get out on the water. But that cold water can be very dangerous and can really limit the amount of time that you have to be rescued if you have to go into the water. So just always keep that in mind.
So is there a website or a place on your website that residents can go to check out the weather?
No, that's a great question. And everything that we do from the National Weather Service perspective is on our website. So really all you got to do is just go to weather.gov, weather.gov, and that'll show you a map of the whole country. And that's a simple place to start. You can click on the eastern part of Virginia, takes you right to the Wakefield site. And so it's just weather.gov/Wakefield if you want to come right to our website. And from there, you'll see a nice map on the main front of the page. And you can click on any place in Newport News on the peninsula, and it'll give you the local forecast forecast for your location. You can read the forecast. You can get a detailed hour-by-hour weather forecast graph if you want to. Nice thing about that is it tells you, what hour do we think it's going to start snowing? If it's going to be freezing rain, what hour do we think it's going to change over to freezing rain? And also, how long is the event going to last? Or, how long is it going to be below freezing? When are we going to get back above freezing? So it gives you all that detail. And a lot of our partners and users use those hourly weather graphs. The other thing that's really neat on our page is when you go back to the weather.gov/Wakefield website, if you scroll down a little bit farther down the page, you'll see this nice looking little snowflake icon. It's pretty obvious. It's a big snowflake. And that takes you to all of our winter weather forecasts. So it'll tell you how much snow are we expecting here? So maybe we're expecting 2 to 3 inches of snow on the peninsula. It'll tell you the worst case, so that if it's going to be a little bit more than we think, maybe instead of 2 to 3, maybe it's going to, the worst case is about 5 inches of snow if we're a little bit low. And then you can also go in there and even try to figure out, what's the chance I'm going to see 2 inches of snow? What's the chance I'm going to see 6 inches of snow? If it's a big event, you can see what's the chance I'm going to get 8 inches of snow. So all that information is on our winter webpage. So just weather.gov/Wakefield and just scroll down to that little snowflake icon and you can get all types of snow and ice forecast information.
Thank you. That was very informative. From the city's perspective, we're making sure that we're prepared ahead of time and really keeping an eye on the weather to make sure that we let you guys, the residents, know what we're expecting throughout the year. So make sure that as we're transitioning through from fall to winter, make sure that you're checking on things in your home, checking on your neighbors, checking on your family members to make sure that everybody's ready to go for the winter weather. Make sure that you check the weather before you leave, and honestly, keep an eye on it throughout the week so that way you've got an idea of what to expect. Also, you can follow us on social media. Newport News Emergency Management, most of the city departments in Newport News, as well as National Weather Service Wakefield, all have social media pages. We have Facebook and Twitter, and you can follow us there for more updates regarding the weather, as well as general preparedness information. Thank you, Jeff, for joining me, and thank you for the information. It was greatly appreciated. And thank you for joining us. Make sure that you check the weather ahead of time before you leave, check on your neighbors, and stay safe.